All right, I'm going to talk to you while you copy it down. So we've solved quadratics a bunch of different ways, okay? We factored and set each piece equal to 0 and solved it. Do y'all remember that?
Nope.
Where we put it in the box?
Yeah.
And then we put each piece to 0 and solved them. We took the square roots when x was only written one time, right? We completed the square. This is another way to solve, okay? This is the last way we'll learn. This way, though, is the way that you can use it anytime. It always works. You know, everything can't be factored.
Why'd you put a minus?
That's not my pen slip. All right. So here's the key before you start the quadratic formula. It must equal 0 before you start. If it doesn't, you have to make it. Okay? A and B and C. A, B, and C are coefficients.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, no. Just come back. There it goes. All right, so what that means is the x does not go with them. So we're going to practice determining what A, B, and C are. Well, actually, we did that. Remember when we were graphing quadratics and we had to put A equals and B equals and C equals? Remember that? Okay. If they're missing, if any of those are missing, they're 0. Like if any of the terms are missing. So if I had 2x squared plus 5 equals 0.
C is 0.
A is 2. No.
B is 0.
B is 0 because it's got the x hooked to it, and C is 5.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
All right, so let me give you the formula, and then we'll start plugging in and working with it. You ready? Remember, the point of this is we find out what x equals. We're solving for x. So x equals opposite b. And I say opposite because if b starts out negative, then it's going to change it to positive. Plus or minus the square root of.
Hey, why is that on top?
Yeah, why is that?
Because it's going to be a big fraction.
Oh,
What the hell?
Root of
plus or minus square root of
b squared
b squared.
minus 4ac
So that's going to be a lot of work.
all over
2.
2a. You were close. You literally plug it in. Here's the only thing. Here's where students mess up. You have to simplify in the right order, and you got to keep everything over 2a. This is not just over the radical, it's over the whole thing. So let's look at one. The whole thing, everything up top is divided by 2a. It's not. Okay. Let me give you one. Let's say 3x squared plus 2x minus 5 equals 0.
Alright, so you plug the
Okay.
opposite of B.
Now make sure you check before you start that it equals 0. Okay?
Okay.
What is A?
They're going to be 2.
What?
You're plugging into the formula. I'm just listing A, B, and C right now. A is 3. What is B?
2.
And what is C?
-5.
All right, so when I plug it in, okay, I'm literally just going to replace these, and I will give you this formula on your test. Okay?
You better. Okay.
Opposite B, so B is 2, it's going to become -2. Plus or minus? Wait. Okay. Square root.
4AC, is that 4 times 3 times?
Yes, that's my point.
Oh, sweat.
B squared is 2 squared minus 4. A is 3. C is -5.
That's just 2 times 3 first.
Whenever to solve it with the square
it's
root
going to become a
cancel
plus.
out. No.
No, you have to simplify under the square root first.
So it would be.
It wouldn't cancel.
Then
It would be 4 minus negative. All right. If you follow what I tell you to do, you'll be all right every single time. Okay? Do under the radical first. Always under the radical. Under square root first. Okay? So I get, okay. Did you say don't go?
I said, do not go, don't go.
Negative 2 plus or minus square root. 2 squared is 4 minus, now multiply these three numbers together. 4 times 3 is 12, and 12 times negative 5 is negative 60. It's going to turn in because of the 2, Bryce, you're right. I want you to be very, very, very careful of signs.
Well, minus negative 60 is
Going to be plus 60, you're right.
So why did you do that?
I want you to see why. Everybody goes over 6.
Hold on.
So, okay.
Wait, how'd you get the 2 negative? Oh, it's minus.
Right, see, I got a negative here and a negative here. Which, Bryce is right. When you subtract a negative, it's the same thing as adding a positive.
Well, you just put pot. What I tell you, make life so much harder.
Okay. 4 plus 60. Now, I did the square root first. Now you want to simplify your square root if you can. So maybe I should say first,
It'd be 8.
it'd be 8. I'm out of room.
Hold up, hold up.
I can't even see where you did 8.
I haven't yet because I'm out of room. I gotta go to the next page to do it. I gotta wait till everybody's caught up.
Yeah, I'm on track with you right now, so if you'll go, keep going.
Everybody got that? Alright. Alright, so I got negative 2 plus or minus square root of 64 over 6, right? Alright, so y'all said that's 8, and you're right. Plus or minus 8 over 6. Well, since this one's a perfect square, so if perfect square, split it up. Now, what I mean by split it up is, this says plus or minus, right? That means negative 2 plus 8 over 6, or negative 2 minus 8 over 6. All this from one problem.
It already states at the top. Isn't that what the original?
Because it's still indicating your two solutions to you. If this is a perfect square, now if this had been if it had been something like negative 2 plus or minus the square root of 3 over 6, you would just leave it just like that. But if it's a whole number here, you need to split it up.
Negative 2 plus 8 over 6 or negative 2.
No, because this was negative 2 plus 8.
I said, do I write both of them and
No.
We got to finish simplifying it.
But I thought, like, splitting it up was the same thing as just leaving it like that. So what would be the difference in splitting them up versus leaving it the same?
Say that again.
So your answer is 1.
1 or.
Just too much work. Oh, gosh.
I don't mind.
The only time you have to split it up is when it's a perfect square. If it's not a perfect square, I don't make you split it up at all.
Yeah, my question is, why do we have to split it up if it already says it right there? Like,
It says it. It's just to let you understand and see that's to kind of like whenever we're solving and we do, if we have like x plus 1 squared equals 16 and we do square root, we do plus or minus 4. I'm not going to take points off if you have this. I would like for you to split it up. I won't force you to split it up. Let's do another one.
That's the end.
Yes.
All right, then I don't need it.
Let's do another one. Let's do one that's not a perfect square. I actually made that up off the top of my head. I can't believe it.
Let's just do one that doesn't involve
They all involve that much work. Let's do 5x squared plus 2x minus 3 equals
We don't put that number there now.
2.
3x plus 2.
So now we got this one.
So now you got to manipulate your equation. What's the work that you have to do, though?
You got it.
It's got to be 0 on one side.
Minus 3x.
So wait, can you just argue that?
So plus 3.
No, minus 3x.
Yep. So move this one and move this one.
I'm trying to say that.
So I've got 5x squared minus x minus 5. I had to get everything canceled out of one side. This is a lot of work, but it's not hard. It's just plugging in and simplifying. Especially not hard if you have the formula to use. You know what I'm saying? What is A?
3, 5,
B?
1.
Negative 1. See that negative sign in front? Huh? If the whole term is missing. C equals negative 5. So now we plug and chug. Opposite B, 1. Right? Plus or minus square root. B squared
3 times 5.
minus 4 times A times C. All over 2A. Okay. Okay. Now, any negative number squared becomes what? Positive. Negative number squared. Don't worry about negative. We will do i's if we end up with a square with a negative under the square root, but first we're just going to simplify under. 1 minus 4 times 5 is 20, and 20 times negative 5.
Negative 100.
So now we combine it with that 1 in front.
We change all that to 5.
We are.
101.
Look at that radical. Can you simplify it any?
No, you just leave it like that.
No. Because there's no perfect square you can divide 101 by. So you leave it. Now this is your answer.
Yeah. That ain't that hard.
Like that one better?
That ain't that hard.
But look, here's the thing with quadratic formula is it's going to start, if this is a negative under here, you got to start thinking about the i's. If you can split it up, you need to split it up and simplify it. Right? Remember, like if I have square root of 12, I would break that up 4 and 3. So I'd have 2 root 3.
And then it'll be 1 plus 2 root 3.
Right, over 10. Okay? What you think? Tell me what you think.
That ain't that hard.